Hey everybody, and welcome to FYB's live Wimbledon Webcast, Day 7. Today is, what is it, Monday, June 28th?
That sounds about right.
Will Hamilton alongside Adam Szymanski.
Go ahead and pause your stream over there.
Yeah, I gotta mute this first. One of us has always got the audio going, so one of these days we're gonna figure it out. Hope everybody had a good weekend.
Absolutely.
I am, of course, Will Hamilton alongside Adam Szymanski. A lot to talk about today. Before we do that, two quick notes. First of all, thank you to Championship Tennis Tours for sponsoring these webcasts. If you are going to get your tickets to tennis tournaments, please do it via their website. There's a link below this video. Promo code FYB. That'll get you free shipping, and if you get tickets to the U.S. Open, you can come hang out at one of CTT's cocktail parties.
Yep.
We're going to be there, and it'll be a lot of fun. Second of all, this is the first day of our promo for FYB Premium.
If you remember, we did the strategy course as part of the promo. The whole point of that strategy course, we released 4 videos, was to give you sort of an idea of how we talk about strategy inside of FYB Premium, and it was to this promotion that we FYB Premium. Right now, you can join FYB Premium for less than half of the normal price, and that deal is going to go through the midnight on Sunday, the Wimbledon final, the 4th of July. So in other words, you can watch the final, and then you have until midnight to purchase this at half price, and then bang, the price doubles.
Very, very subtle of you.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, I thought, for those of you who saw that, the strategy mini course, I thought today's match start with Roddick going down to Lu.
Yeah, that was an interesting upset. Certainly not many people expecting that.
Yeah, Yen-Hsun.
You need to lower the resolution on your computer there so
Yen-Hsun Lu.
that people can see.
Let me go ahead and do that.
And then probably rerun present.
But the thing that really stuck out to me with that match was Lu played an incredibly high percentage game. He played extremely well. But for those of you who have been watching the strategy series, he was very smart about how he applied directionals. He wasn't ripping absurd winners, something you might expect from Rafa or Federer.
Right.
He
did
really
a very good job of keeping the ball in play and making the
moving
high
it around.
percentage
Exactly,
play
and he was certainly aggressive, but he did it in a high percentage manner. It's definitely a tactic because, you know, Lu doesn't have any big weapons. I mean, the guy is not going to blow you off the court, so he obviously had to play extremely well today, which he did. Served very well, but his ability to move the ball around the court and keep Roddick off balance and force Roddick into low percentage shots was very impressive.
I was going to say, I think at the top of the very top of the game, where players possess these huge weapons like Roddick's forehand and his serve.
You have to. Serve.
Well, but Roddick does have a very big forehand.
You know, streaky, but yeah, it is big.
You have to play extremely well in order to keep them on the defensive and keep them from going on offense just like that. With their weapon. So he did a very good job of pushing Roddick back, keeping Roddick on the defensive, or keeping Roddick in neutral rallies that prevented Roddick from shifting onto offense.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about, and I think that's particularly true of a guy like Federer or Rafa. These are players that literally can turn that instant offense. Their ability to transition is incredibly impressive. A guy like Roddick, it takes a little bit longer for him. You know, if we're thinking of DNO, if you've seen that video, it takes him a little bit longer to get up that you know, that spectrum. He's not as good as say a Rafa or a Federer, who literally need 1 or 2 shots. And Lu did a great job of never giving Roddick an opportunity to neutralize and then go on offense. And keep in mind when we're talking about this match, Roddick got broken once the entire match. He got 1 break, and that was to lose the match. I mean, I feel terrible for the guy. It's sort of, you know, memories of the Wimbledon final last year. Where he served the lights out and then lost the match. And he, you know, he had 2 break chances against him. One of them got converted.
Colby says at one point in the 5th set, Roddick had won all 19 out of 19 points where he got his first serve in.
I mean, that's not surprising. Roddick's serve is probably, you know,
so
arguably,
100% on his first
you know,
serve.
you'd say Roddick and Isner have the best serves probably on tour. You might be able to throw Karlovic in there, but Roddick said in his post post-match press conference that he returned terribly, and that and I mean, yeah, he did. I mean, he's never been a good returner. That's what lost him the Wimbledon final last year.
Yeah,
it's what lost him this match. I also thought, he didn't play. It's strange because he didn't play the breakers very well. The second and third set breaker, he gave away a lot of points. I had some notes in here. I believe. Let me see. There were a couple points. First of all, I kind of want to diagram the how money Lu was in terms of his directional. Applying the directionals and making high percentage plays. I also thought Roddick really, this might have been in the second set breaker. I can't remember 100%. Maybe it was in the third or fourth. He's down 3, and he goes for a drop shot when he's behind the baseline.
Yeah, Roddick.
Roddick did. And you're saying, what are you doing?
Right, and it didn't work.
No, it did. Well, the drop shot was terrible, but he ended up winning the point, luckily.
Right.
I mean, Lu got to it.
On an error, a long ball by Lu.
Yeah, it was extremely lucky. There was one specific point in the second set. It was on, second set point. This is what I wanted to diagram. This was in the second set. And we're Roddick up here. Got A-Rod. And then we'll put Lu down here. And I believe that Roddick was serving over here. I might be messing this part up. But in any event, Roddick serves, return comes back in play. Roddick hits a great shot into the corner over here. Lu is running. And Lu, if we take a step back and we think about directionals and DNO, first of all, Lu is clearly on defense in this situation. He's on the run. But where would you put this next shot? What's the high percentage play from a directional standpoint, those outside ground strokes? You can just, I'm going to answer it in 1 second. If you have watched those videos, just quickly answer that question for yourself. It's the cross-court ball, get it as deep as possible and keep it cross-court. And Lu hit a great shot. He got this ball really deep. But Roddick tried to take that forehand down the line, and he dumped it into the net, and that cost him the second set. And that was a poor decision on Roddick's part because Lu got a hold of that ball. He was on defense. He hit a really good neutralizing shot. If you're Roddick over here and the ball bounces right by the baseline, it's got some pace on it, down the line, low percentage shot, I can understand why he tried to do it. Lu is off the court. But a higher percentage play when he takes it back cross court probably would have been the better play. Obviously, given the results, it would have been preferable if Roddick had that to do over. But I thought that was a really interesting illustration or a very good, rather, pro-level illustration of how directionals work at that level. I mean again,
and also DNO. I mean, Lu hit a neutralizing shot. He was able to transition from defense back to a neutral rally, which Roddick then tried to pull the trigger too early on.
Exactly, yeah. It was a poor opportunity for, I mean, if we look at this DNO spectrum, Lu did a nice job of getting off of defense and up to neutral. And Roddick, this was putting Roddick back in a neutral situation. He was on offense, but Lu was able to get him back here. And then he tried to transition incorrectly by going down the line with that low percentage shot, and it resulted in an error. So I thought, that was a pretty clear illustration of these concepts at work. If we just take a moment to talk about Lu in general, he did a real nice job. Lu didn't blow Roddick off the court by any stretch of the means, but what he did was he played a really high percentage, and he followed the directionals. I thought Lu's backhand in particular was really effective at getting Roddick off the court. He hit some, especially when he was pulled a little bit wide, he hit some great backhands to get Roddick off the court. And then Roddick had a tough time keeping it sufficiently cross-court. He was leaving a lot of balls in the middle of the court, and a lot of these would be inside ground strokes now when Roddick sends this back this way. This is going to be an inside ground stroke for Lu. Now he can go to the open court, change direction, and he'd be in control of a lot of those points. So it was a real interesting match, I thought, from a directionals, a percentages standpoint, because Lu certainly didn't do anything too special, too crazy. It was just,
well,
it was well executed. I mean, it was unbelievably well executed.
Right.
Lu hit great shots, but he was constructing points. I mean, unbelievably well constructed. I mean, if you had that match DVR'd, go back and watch it, because this is not, when we watch pro tennis, sometimes we're like, oh, where's the winner, and then we try and emulate that stuff and it doesn't work. What you want to emulate is how Lu constructed a lot of his points, because it was masterful. He kept Roddick off balance. He kept Roddick on defense, and after a multi-shot sequence, he was winning a lot of points.
And,
I mean, it was a great job.
Quoted Brad Gilbert, who apparently said today that Brad Gilbert thought was content to let Andy lose points rather than have himself win points. Did you catch that?
I didn't catch that exact comment.
Brad Gilbert said that Lu content to let Andy lose points rather than he himself trying to win them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of gets back to what we're talking about. Lu was not getting up there and saying, there's the fence and I'm going to swing for it.
Right.
He just did a very nice job of keeping Roddick off balance, keeping him behind the baseline. Lu was very good in terms of managing his vertical court depth. He stood on the baseline, cut down on time. Roddick couldn't get set, and down that time, keeping Roddick a little bit, changing direction well. Roddick kept hitting the ball in the middle of the court, couldn't neutralize, and then ultimately he'd make an error, or Lu could come to net, or Lu would put the ball away.
Yeah.
It was a masterful performance from that standpoint. Again, sorry for Roddick, because the guy's one break and you lose the match. I mean,
right, sure.
It's amazing. As well as Lu played. And
Roddick was a little testy in the press conference afterwards too. He was very upset.
Well, I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah.
I think that's really understandable. I would be, you get broken once and you lose a 5-set match. How can you not be frustrated?
Sure.
Some of the questions were kind of stupid too. Some of the questions.
They were a little. Are you frustrated? Are you going to wake up angry tomorrow, Andy?
Yeah, that was not. And Andy,
you had a decent chance to win Wimbledon this year, and you lose to a basically unnamed opponent.
A guy you had never lost a set to.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's extremely, I feel bad for Roddick. I mean, that he had a great shot. The draw was pretty open for him. You got to think Djokovic, he won today, but he was struggling in there, had more health problems. You never know what's up with that guy. Certainly, you wouldn't put Djokovic at the top of the rankings in terms of his mental toughness. He comes unraveled. So, I mean, Roddick had a good shot to make it through.
So, if you're Federer now, how are you feeling?
I mean, I'm certainly not taking Berdych lightly because that guy can crush the ball.
Yep. And just to clarify, on Federer's half of the draw, we've got Berdych left, Djokovic left, and Roddick is out now. So let's pull up a draw.
Hang on, let me get the old magnifier fired up.
And Djokovic and Lu play next.
Okay, we got it.
And I'll go over here and we'll cut over to the computer.
Okay, so here's the top half of the draw. We got Fed versus Berdych.
And then Djokovic,
Lu. Right
Tsonga,
there.
Murray.
Yeah, this is on the lower half. You got Tsonga and Murray. That could be interesting. I think if I was Murray, I would really try and exploit the backhand-to-backhand rally because Murray's backhand is significantly stronger than Tsonga's. And then you've got Soderling-Nadal, obviously a rematch of the French Open final. This could be a really interesting match if both guys are playing well. That's sort of a big question mark because Soderling struggled a little bit today. If you go back and we look at the stat line for this match, Ferrer, let me see if I can scoot this over ever so slightly. This is interesting. This has actually gone up a little bit because earlier in the match I had taken a stat down after the first 2 sets. It was something to the effect of Soderling was only winning 68% of his
first serves.
It was 65% and 67%. 65% first serves and 67% won. That was the first 2 sets. He obviously stepped it up later, in the third, obviously, and then in the 5th. But that's a testament to how good of a returner Ferrer is.
Yep.
And Soderling said as much in the post-game press conference. He said, I think I need to serve better against Rafa, but hats off to Ferrer, who's a great great returner. Federer said he's the best returner on tour, maybe a couple years ago. So, you know, that was, if I'm in Soderling's camp, I'm concerned because Rafa, in many respects, is a better version of David Ferrer.
Yeah.
A bigger, stronger, more consistent, harder hitting, has the ability to go on offense. So, you know, if Soderling produces the same kind of tennis against Rafa as he did today, Rafa's going to win that match. But I think this
it'll be interesting. I'm very curious to see Soderling versus Rafa on grass rather than on clay. I think it could be a lot more interesting. Soderling has that huge serve, and if he can capitalize on that, we saw Soderling serving 140 today. If he can up that first serve speed, get it in consistently, Rafa's going to be in some trouble.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I watched Rafa today, and I got to say, he much more aggressive. There was a question about his knee, first of all.
Right.
And, you know, I wonder if he's thinking to himself, my knee hurts, I don't really want to play as much defense, I'm going to go on offense. And I don't know if that was his thought process, but whatever he was doing, it was working because he played great. He went after the ball when he had looks, and I think he's going to need to do that against Soderling. He can't just sort of sit back and grind as much as he would on a clay court.
Ice Kiss in the chat. Doesn't the grass take Soderling's time away? And we certainly saw at the French Open that Soderling preferred when the court was slow and it was raining. That gave him much more time to set up. He eliminated Federer doing that. But then the court conditions were a little faster, and Rafa kind of outplayed him in the final. But what I was getting at more was that Soderling's serve on grass will skip off the court. It's going to be very difficult for Rafa to control. I expect if Soderling wins that he will probably have to win, I would say, maybe near 80% of his first serves, if not a little higher.
That, you know, if he's somewhere between 70 and 80, he should be okay. I mean, that's about what Federer was pulling off in that epic 08 final. But Ice Kiss is right. You know, I think in the back of his mind, Rafa's saying, I need to work on my offense a little bit against Mathieu so that I can really cut down on the amount of time I'm giving Soderling.
Correct.
Because, again, if the ball is sitting in the middle of the court like it was in the French final, Rafa's not going to be able to get as many of those balls back. The court is just too quick. He's not going to, you know, get a racket on, you know, as many of those shots. So I think that's one of the reasons. You know, if you watch Rafa in the past, you know, when he plays grass, this is not just this year, this is in the past, he has been more aggressive. He stands up a little bit more. His return positioning is up in the court. So, you know, he does make those adjustments. It's like I said, an interesting match. I think I'm going to give it to Rafa, I think, in 4 sets. Might have to think about that a little bit more.
Do you expect to see Rafa in his upcoming match perhaps extend the match longer than it would normally go in order to work on his transition to offense?
Not, I mean, what, against like Mathieu?
Yeah.
I mean, when you're up 2-0 and you have a guy where you want him, yes, you might start working on stuff. Federer's the most obvious guy where he sometimes hits absurd kind of drop shot, you know, half volleys or something and works on a couple things here and there. So maybe you had a little bit of that from Rafa today, but against a guy as good as Soderling, you don't take a play off. You just end the match and you get off the court. Against a guy who you might be able to take the foot off the gas and maybe he breaks you back and then you can just kind of, you know, start accelerating again and take control of the match. That might be one thing, but that's, you know, that's earlier in the tournament. I mean, that stage is clearly over now. There's no easy matches anymore. So yeah, he's not going to do that against Soderling by any stretch. And I don't think Rafa's the type of guy who does stuff like that either. I mean, the guy just has sort of no off switch. He's just sort of go.
Sure.
And just takes care of business. He's not as creative in that sense as somebody like Fed is. So I don't see that happening. If you guys want to use the chat to ask any questions, please go ahead and do that. Interesting question from NATO for Ever. Do you think Roddick would have won if he had used the backhand slice a little bit more? You know, Lu does kind of hit flat. So if you get the ball lower and you force Lu to come up, get the ball up and down.
Yeah.
That's a good question. It's hard to sort of speculate on that too much. The match literally, I don't think it'd be a situation if you're kind of coaching Roddick through this match again, and it's going to play out the same way. You don't say use the slice as much. You say return better. I mean, it's literally return better, play the big points better, because it really came down to only a few points. The breakers, Roddick played flawlessly on his serve and came out of the breakers, came down to big points. And if Roddick was 1 for 8, I think, on break chances. I mean, you got to do better than that. Yeah, and Charles said in the chat in the post-match interview, Roddick said Lu prefers the ball lower, around waist high. I remember that comment as well. Yeah, I mean, again, the slice is an interesting sort of discussion, but I think it's very clear what Roddick had to do to win that match. He wasn't able to. It was just a matter of execution. He wasn't able to pull it off, which is too bad for him.
You want to do the question now?
Yeah, maybe. Thank Ian Westerman, EssentialTennis.com, who will be joining us this 4th of July, is in the chat.
Making a fashion comment.
He likes our shirts. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
By the way, Ian, do not wear white on the final. You were guilty of that for the French Open, and you're not supposed to wear white on camera, man.
Yeah,
you gotta wear.
True.
I don't know what's the reason for that.
Well, it causes the camera to be exposed.
Okay.
In other words, because the white makes everything else dim.
Yeah. Okay.
No white, Ian. And okay, well, let's do the question. We'll.
Ian, that's what you wear to work. That's that's cool, man. This is not the same thing.
Okay.
Got to step the game up. You don't have a non-white tennis. Just wear a polo shirt.
How do you not have a non-white tennis shirt? Nike sells like 10 different non-white tennis shirts that you can buy at Sports Authority.
Ian, come on, man.
All right, here's the question, guys.
What are we
giving away?
I got to ban Ian from chat first.
Wow, come on. What are we giving away here?
Let's give away an Andy Roddick gift card.
An Andy Roddick gift card.
To sort of send him off. I don't know. So,
nice.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right. So this is Andy, first person in the chat to get this.
Okay. Rafa Nadal reached number 2 in the world back in the summer of 2005. He was a teenager then. 2 other guys have achieved the number 2 ranking in the world as teenagers. Who are they?
On the men's side.
Need both men. There's 2 names I'm looking for. What other men besides Rafael Nadal have reached the number 2 ranking in the world while being a teenager? We got some.
All right, got it. Star Fury got it.
Becker and Borg.
Yep.
Congratulations,
Good
Star
work.
Fury.
Some people are close. Wielander, Becker, Hewitt, Borg. People are dancing around it. Good work, Star Fury. I'm going to send you a private message right now with some directions.
All right. Let's see. Where else are we? What else do we want to talk about?
Hold on, just
before we.
I want to talk about Serena Sharapova.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. All right, got it. Good work, Star Fury. Let me navigate over to the draw. All right, got it here. If you want to pull it up real quick, we can just show people the score line. Serena Sharapova. Let's go over the old match stats. And
so Serena defeated Sharapova.
Serena won straight sets. This was sort of the pivotal, 9, 11-9 in the breaker. And really, I thought this match.
Serena looked to be in a little bit of trouble early on, but I think sort of.
Well, the breaker was really close. Everybody had set points.
Right.
And Serena toughed it out. Sharapova's serve kind of I think she double faulted in the breaker. She obviously had 7 double faults. But, if she had served a little bit better, she might have, this match was close. She might have she might have had a shot at winning it. I just don't. Her serve is not quite back to where.
Double faulting in a breaker is a huge. That's a huge thing to try to overcome at that stage.
When it's something that is that close. I mean, in fairness, she had to be really aggressive because Serena and Sharapova, they were both kind of pouncing on the second serves.
Serena, though, traditionally returns extremely well. She's very aggressive on service returns and takes a lot of time away from her opponent.
Yeah, she's one of the all-time, probably the best serve ever in women's tennis, and certainly one of the great returners. Also, just right inside of the baseline. Not only hits great returns, but that just wears on people psychologically.
Right.
I mean, you got to maybe give Serena.
You feel like you have to put a little bit more on your serve in order to keep her from immediately going on offense against you, or even just bringing it right back to neutral when you think that you should be starting a point on offense with your serve.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta maybe give Serena a little bit of credit for Sharapova's double in the breaker, because Sharapova knows that she has to. And earlier in that breaker, she had hit a beautiful out wide on the ad court serve, painted the lines, tried to do something similar. A few points later, didn't work. And then I believe she got broken the very first game of the second set, and that was the difference. So Serena's been serving great. She said that's the only thing she's been doing well. But I think she looks
been playing doubles well as well.
Yeah,
too.
of course.
The ladies seem on for another Wimbledon championship.
Yeah, that seemed. I think they're on track for an all Williams final. Serena's got Na Li. I don't see Serena losing that match. Got to think Venus, who battled it out today. There was a question of whether she was sick or not. She looked a little inconsistent today, and came up with a gutsy win. I expect her to get through this match. Clijsters could be a good one.
Jankovic retired.
Retired, but Zvonareva was in control of that match. Clijsters went 3 with Enna, but the second and third kind of Enna ran away, or excuse me, Clijsters ran away with it, and I thought was playing great. I mean, if she plays, I think as crisply as she played some points in the second and the third against Enna, I think she wins this match. I'm gonna flip a coin here on that one.
Not even actually looking at the computer screen.
Oh, we're not.
Moment, so
no, well, I was just.
We'll clip over there.
Oh. Why was I staring over here? I thought people could see that. All right, so quickly going through Serena and Ali.
You think Serena's going to take that?
Yep, flipping a coin here.
Clijsters.
Gonna go Clijsters, and then
Venus.
Venus, yeah. I mean, I think we're going to get Venus and Serena in the final. I mean, that's
fair enough.
That's a pretty safe. Everybody criticizes me for my picks.
I think Serena Clijsters could be interesting.
I think you mean Venus.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Venus Clijsters, yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Let's we're coming up on the end of this webcast, and there's a question from Paul. Do you think that Fed will get into any trouble against Berdych? I'm going to say.
I think it could happen.
I'm going to say 4 sets. I think.
Berdych has been playing extremely well.
Yeah,
he's like. Late in his career, starts magically showing up.
He's been stepping
last couple tournaments.
Well, it's mental. I mean, the guy's always had a big game. It's just sort of, I don't say, Insane Wizard says Fed in 3 close sets. I think that could be a good bet. I mean, I think with Berdych's game as big as it is, if someone's dialed in and is painting the lines, there's not much you can do. And Federer, learned that against Soderling in the French Open. I don't think Berdych is going to come up with that, high level of play. I think on grass, Federer's best surface, between Fed and Sampras, you probably are the 2 best grass court players of all time.
Yep.
I think 4 sets, close 3, 4 sets is a good bet there. Federer looked great today against Meltzer. Just spanked him. I mean, it was. He was just moving well, changing direction well, was on balance, and was hitting just very cleanly. I mean, it was sort of the Federer of old. He's gotten his form back after 2 early rounds.
Struggles, yeah.
And the commentators have been saying, and this is the cliche, is you can't win a major in the first week. You can only lose one.
Yep.
And they used that a number of times to talk about Federer struggles and Rafa struggles. And yes, it is cliche. It's also true. And both those guys seem to be playing their way into shape. I hope they continue to improve because the final could be ridiculous.
Yeah.
You get another Rafa-fed final. Fingers.
That'd be nice.
Fingers crossed.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, there's a question of, how do I think Rafa's knee will hold up? He seems to be okay.
Yeah, he does. His knee started becoming an issue right at the beginning of the year. He was questionable for Indian Wells. He showed up, and he has done well ever since then. So I don't know whether or not right now is necessarily the time to start worrying about his knee. Obviously, as the season goes on and we start getting into the hard court season, you might.
Well, he's not playing Davis Cup. He's not playing Davis. He's going to take
Davis
some
Cup.
time off. So I think he's going to do sounds like he's doing a nice job of managing his schedule.
Yeah.
And that's really with a guy like Rafa, he's going to have to do that if he wants to be playing at a high level, even in 4 years.
Yeah.
Because there's so much pounding on his body. I can't remember who was saying. I think it was Patrick McEnroe during the Isner match. Isner Mahut was saying he had a discussion with a trainer, a high-level trainer in the United States, and said outside of non-contact sports, tennis players have more injuries than any other sport, which I thought was a little surprising, but it does make sense.
No, I don't know.
It does make sense,
there's
but I don't
a lot
know.
of rapid changes of direction.
On a hard court.
On a hard
concrete.
Court. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Particularly in the U.S., I suppose, where more matches are played on hard courts.
of course. I mean, American players barely know what a clay court looks like.
Sure.
That was an interesting stat, and I think Rafa will be okay. Super Gannon says Sterling Murray in the semis. I doubt it. I think we'll probably get a Rafa Murray semifinal, which would be extremely entertaining.
It'll be good. I
Extremely
expect
entertaining.
Rafa to take that.
That's gonna be a tough one. Just the home crowd. I mean,
Sure.
that definitely that definitely is gonna help Murray. And Murray, a guy that hasn't dropped a set. He hasn't really been pushed, so you don't really know exactly where he's at.
SW19 asks in the chat, where does Roddick go from here?
Yeah.
Starberry says Houston.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add to that. So
Amazing.
Drazy C, I'm going to say Lu Songa final, probably not.
No, I'm not thinking Lu Songa.
If that turns out to be the case, we'll give you a
and
year to
yeah,
FYB
it is-
premium
it is Austin.
for free.
Right. Okay, so let's round this out. Do we want to just mention it one more time?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Today again is the first day of our promo. It lasts through the Sunday final, so you can get FYB premium at half price right now. It's
There's a hyperlink right above the player to if you just want details on what exactly is in there, like what's it going to do for you. Because
absolutely, and we are actually doing our weekly premium webcast is in like an hour and a half.
We're doing that in an hour and a half, but
see what that looks like.
But we're gonna do what I think it was Thursday at 7. We decided we are gonna do one just so you guys can get a sense of.
We're gonna do a webcast just like this, a free webcast that you can ask us anything you want for an hour about what is inside of FYB Premium. Will it work with my computer? How do you do the billing? All that kind of stuff.
It's going to be sort of a combo. There'll be certainly questions about what the service is, but it's also going to be some instructional questions. I'm going to get. I think I'm going to make a post. If you want to post in this video some questions, some technique questions for that thing on Thursday, go ahead and do that. I might make a separate post, but I'll still look for the questions here as well. And then that'll give you a good sense of what exactly the Q&A looks like. But it's very similar. It's basically imagine this, except I've looked at your pre-submitted questions. I've come up with my thoughts. I'll answer them. You can follow up, and then I'll maybe clarify or talk about something else. Or
yeah, just to clarify, I mentioned there's in an hour and a half we're doing for the premium members is the weekly webcast. But then Thursday we're going to be doing a free webcast that will answer questions about FYB Premium if you have them.
Yeah.
So
I'll make a post. We'll make another post that's a little bit, that
we'll explain it a little bit better.
Clears it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that in mind, we are going to sign off, but we will see y'all tomorrow at 5 p.m. women's quarters tomorrow. So there's going to be some interesting matches there, a lot to talk about, and then we'll obviously preview the men the following day.
All right.
So with that in mind, I'm going to do it like the commentators do it. For Adam Szymanski, I'm Will Hamilton saying we'll see you tomorrow at 5 o'clock.
And that's the way it is.